Quick turnaround for the Bills. Thursday night football coming up at the Houston Texans, coming off that big win over the Buccaneers. I'm Kevin Carroll. This is the Buffalo End Zone Podcast.
We are proudly presented, as always, by Toyota. I am Andy Young. This will be a tough test. Despite the records, Texans still hanging around 500. This will not be an easy game for the Bills, and the Texans made them look bad a year ago.
Oh, yeah. They've actually made them look bad in Houston for a few years now. We'll get into that a little bit later, Andy, but one of the keys to the Bills' success likely going to be a strong offensive output against a really good defense, and maybe the rest of the way, you might be looking at a Bills team that might just have to put up a lot of points in order to get to where their ultimate goal is, and that's going to go through that passing game with Josh Allen. And, of course, there's all this controversy around the passing game because of one guy, Keon Coleman. I'm getting sick of talking about it, but it's a topic going into this game because the Bills are banged up at wide receiver. And while it's a short week and Keon was sat against the Buccaneers, maybe he should sit again. A lot of people making a big deal about him dancing during pregame warmups. I don't know about that, but he was out at practice, Andy, with the rest of the guys and might be pushed in. What are your thoughts about the whole Keon Coleman thing now that the dust have settled?
Obviously, Keon Coleman needs to mature. He needs to grow up. 22-year-old guy. He's not a kid anymore. 2 years in the NFL now. And showing up late to meetings, missing meetings, not doing what he's supposed to do to prepare, questions about effort, all of those sorts of things. When you're the first pick of the second round, you have to show up, be accountable, and do what you're supposed to do on the field, both production-wise and also be there as a guy the Bills are counting on. They went into this season saying, we like who we have at receiver. We bring in Josh Palmer. We bring in Elijah Moore. And we're expecting Keon Coleman in year 2 to make a big jump. We talked so much about the injury last season, the wrist injury that cost him time, and he wasn't quite the same player that he was earlier in the season when he was beginning to elevate and become that player they wanted him to be. And look, with Keon Coleman, they had one of the best passing outings of the season. Was it perfect? No. Was Josh Allen firing at times? Yes, but they seem to bring back the downfield passing attack in a variety of ways, and a lot of guys got involved. So, I mean, it's a question. Sean McDermott didn't come right out and say, look, this was a one-time thing. He was benched for disciplinary issues, and he's going to be right back in the lineup. It'll be interesting.
Sean McDermott's saying we'll see how the week goes. Well, the week's short, Andy. The week's over.
Right.
You
he
know,
had 2 days to prove himself again.
And you bring up the whole how the offense looked, and there's a lot to look into that. It's like you don't want to sit there and say, was it Gabe Davis coming back? Is that all Josh needed? Was it the fact that the running game hasn't been working lately and the hand has kind of been forced? You go 2 weeks in a row where the running game isn't going and teams are like, now you got to pass to beat us. Well, Shaver's able to get open downfield, able to do something. You know, this was something we went back and forth with Stevie Johnson, but doing something that Coleman doesn't seem to want to do or know to do or have
the ability to just be like, oh my God, this is breaking down. This isn't what I'm supposed to do, but I'm guaranteed a touchdown if Josh Allen sees me. Shaver's able to do that. I mean, do you take Tyrell Shavers off the field after his performance?
No.
4 catches on 5 targets, including a 52-yard touchdown or whatever it was, and
the block.
90 total yards,
the
blocking
block on
downfield.
Ty Johnson's touchdown. Ty Johnson's probably down at the 5 if Shavers isn't booking his butt down the field to get there for that final block.
Now, here's the thing with Coleman. He's probably going to get an opportunity again at some point because people are in and out of the lineup.
Right.
Curtis Samuel not practicing. I doubt he plays if he hasn't practiced at all, even though they're walkthroughs this week.
Mm-hmm.
So that means another receiver down. Khalil Shakir not at practice, dealing with a personal issue. We'll see how that unfolds.
Right.
Wouldn't expect him to not play, but if there's something going on in his personal life that keeps him from going, Well, there's another spot for a receiver. So, I mean, you could see Elijah Moore back in the lineup. You could see Coleman get back in the lineup. McCole Hardman banged up, not practicing, so that means another spot there. Do they go back to Brandon Codrington, who they re-signed to the practice squad as a return man? Inactive for the second straight week. The inactive list is going to be very interesting come 6:45 Thursday night Eastern time when the Bills say, here's who we've got out there.
Right, and you wouldn't have even thought of that, before this whole thing happened with Coleman. And what if, because of the bodies, you leave Coleman now inside, and maybe it starts working better for him with what the offense was able to do on the outside with other guys out there and, some banged up receivers that would likely be inside more than outside.
I don't think it's time to give up on Keon Coleman. They've invested a lot, but
really?
The leash is short.
Okay.
But, there's going to be more opportunities for him. Do you just bench him for the rest of the year and say we're done and we cut him? Is that it? We trade him?
I get it. First pick of the second round, Andy. But the guy, other than the first game of the year, is just not producing. And then you have the off-the-field stuff. And it's like you said earlier, look at how well the offense was without him in there. Is that –
I don't think it's a one-for-one. But I think there is something – like Shavers has warranted more playing time. Obviously, Gabe Davis, who still coming off that knee injury, short week for him.
Right.
What can he do, right?
He's another guy where it's like we'll see how the week goes, but I think he's going to.
I think Gabe Davis will go, but we'll see. I've been having a hard time predicting anything about this Bills team this season. Usually I can read the tea leaves pretty well through practice and what McDermott says and how the injury report looks. I have not been able to do that at all this year. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see how they handle this. I don't think they want to give up on Coleman. Brandon Beane certainly doesn't want to give up on Coleman. But I think, other guys playing well warrants them getting some PT, and we'll see how that all shakes out.
Do you think that registers in Coleman's head?
It should.
Okay, I'm not doing well. I got in trouble again. Oh, my God, that offense just went off in the passing game, something we haven't really done all year without me being part of it. That would scare the crap out of me. I'd be like, uh-oh.
Maybe it lights a fire under his butt.
Right, maybe it does. I mean, I don't know, and we'll just briefly get into the dancing thing. Did you have a problem with it? When I first saw it, I was like, oh, my God, come on. But then I saw his teammates, patting his back and stuff, and it's like, okay, who cares? What's the guy going to do?
What do you want him to show up in his funeral suit because he's not playing?
Well, that's his personality.
Right. What is he supposed to do?
And we don't know what
stand there and cry on the sidelines because he's not playing?
And we don't know what goes on behind closed doors where, okay, Keon, this has been handled. You're not playing today. Be you and take in this game. And that's just his personality and how he took the game in.
Right. I mean, who cares if he's dancing before the game? What do you want him to do?
Right.
Sit there on the sidelines, stoic, being like,
it was a good dance.
My life is over. I mean,
could you imagine the video of him just sitting there crying the whole time?
No. I mean, get over yourselves, people.
Yeah.
You got to understand, it's a different era. People aren't. It's the whole thing. Josh Allen shouldn't be out golfing or filming commercials or marrying Haley Steinfeld.
Right.
He should only be focused on football. Well, the guy's out there with his teammates who dance around in pregame warm-ups all the time. They do it at practice. It's just what it is. So get over it. Not a big deal. It has nothing to do with the guy's focus on football. Internally, he has to get that right because clearly there's an issue there. But stuff like that, dancing on the sidelines or having a good time during the game when his team is winning, big freaking deal. It's on him to prove it to his coaches and on the field. That's all that matters.
Now the other shoe to this offense, with Dalton Kincaid sidelined and the passing game takes off, because the passing game looked more like it used to with less focus on the tight end and more focus on the wide receivers. And I've always been a Dawson Knox fan. Like, I always thought he was the adequate guy for what the offense originally was that they put together. I know they evolved in that you bring in Dalton Kincaid, and he's out now, and the offense clicks more. There was talk, because we talked about this, while Dalton Kincaid was there, it was becoming obvious when he was in the game it was a passing play and likely going to him.
Yeah, I still think you want Dalton Kincaid out there.
I agree.
And I think like he's one of their most dangerous weapons. I mean, they even limited Shakir, who is normally a really reliable target. I think he had one catch for like -3 yards.
Yeah.
So to me, you get Dalton Kincaid back at some point, he's going to still be a focal point of your offense because he's been great this year. He's been very good when given the opportunities. Now, the Bills' offense got cooking. It looked a little more helter-skelter like the old days, like that controlled chaos. Like Josh Allen said it in his weekly news conference on Tuesday here this week that he didn't think he played well, and I don't think he necessarily did either. Think about the beginning of that game. He missed a lot of throws, missed Reggie Gilliam for a 2-point conversion. He sailed one over Shakir's head at some point. He said, I don't think I played great in that game, but he did the other stuff. He did the Josh Allen crazy stuff that kind of overrides all of that. And it's interesting to think about. Do the Bills, in turn of going from this offense that wanted to limit the variance in Josh's game, hand the ball off, stop the turnovers, stop the crazy plays, did they kind of hamstring him a little bit? But if he's going to go out there and score 4, 5, 6 touchdowns, you might still take a turnover or two if he's going out there to play like this gunslinger, especially given the fact, like you brought up earlier, that their defense, it is what it is at this point. It is not a good defense. They'll have their moments. They'll have spots. They might take the ball away from time to time.
Turnovers here and there.
But they're not a good running defense. It probably is not going to change, especially given all the injuries, and Ed Oliver's not going to be back for a long time. They're going to have to go out there and outscore teams. So if you need Josh Allen to put up 40 and along the way he turns it over a couple of times, maybe you live with that a little bit. There's got to be maybe a happy medium here where you can get James Cook running and do all the conservative things, but also be able to light it up. And that's kind of the interesting part for Allen and Brady is finding that sweet spot.
It's a more fun product to watch, too, and getting the running backs involved in the passing game
that
is
was
something
huge.
We've been talking about throughout the season, and to see both Ty Johnson and James Cook get to the end zone through the air was good. And they're going to need more of that.
Absolutely. I mean, two of your most dangerous playmakers in the passing game over history have been James Cook and Ty Johnson. Think about last season. Ty Johnson was incredible in the passing game. And a lot of that's even on Josh to some degree, to hit the right guy when the blitz is coming, to find those guys, those quick outlets, to look those guys' way because it's important. And then also kudos to Brady for making that, again, a part of the game plan and calling up plays that work in that regard. So the little screen to Ty Johnson, that worked. That was a good play. I think the play design with James Cook, and we mentioned this Sunday after the game, was awesome. And it goes back to a similar play they ran last year against Miami that James Cook scored a touchdown on. And Cook can be a really reliable, explosive receiver in the passing game. Yes, over the course of his career, he's dropped some balls. But generally, if you get him involved in the passing game, I think that is a good thing. And then how about this? You can still ratchet into that defensive or that offensive physical force that you have, but go ahead and get a lead with your passing game and then bludgeon teams to the end of the game with James Cook.
Love it.
Flip the script a little bit.
Want to see it more from this team if they hope to get into the postseason. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to dive into the game coming up at the Texans. This is the Buffalo End Zone Podcast. All right, welcome back, everyone. Bills at Texans, Thursday night football. I believe this is the last scheduled primetime game for the Bills of the regular season. Andy, I read a headline online that the Bills are headed down to Houston, which has been a house of horrors for them. The last time the Bills won down in Houston was 2006.
Was that Lossman?
J.P. Lossman.
I remember that game.
The quarterback in that one. We all know what happened last year with Josh Allen down there. That didn't work out. We all know what happened in the playoff game where it went into overtime and there was some questionable calls on how that game ended.
Now, that playoff game was the full 2019 Josh Allen crazy experience. Like, they get a lead in that game, and then he's running around trying to throw laterals to Dawson Knox and do all these crazy things.
I believe he caught a pass from John Brown. And, like, that one of those leaps into the end zone, and everyone's like...
That was the early score in that game.
Yeah.
And then they got up, and they failed to convert a few drives in that game. To touchdowns. They kicked field goals. I think they had like a 16-0 lead.
There was a deep ball to, I believe, a fullback. Was it DeMarco?
Yes.
And there was also the start of the second half. There was questions, was the kickoff a safety? On how that game was crazy. But again, Andy, the Bills, not a lot of success down there. And say what you want about the Houston Texans, their defense is tops right now. So the Bills will have their work cut out for them.
Yeah, I mean, the Texans' defense is no joke. They're sitting here at 5-5. They're still, fighting for a playoff spot and fighting for positioning in the AFC South or try to get a wild card spot. And their defense is really good. They are number one in the league in EPA per play. They get after the quarterback despite not throwing a lot of blitz. So then they can sit back and play however defense they want to in the secondary. They can get after you with their front four. I mean, you look at their players up there. They've got some dudes who can really get after it. Will Anderson, a high pick, right? Donnell Hunter. They've got a bunch of guys. Mario Edwards, Sheldon Rankins. These guys are all good. Old buddy Tim Settle still on the roster down there as a backup defensive tackle. And then their secondary is really good, spearheaded by Derek Stingley Jr., who's a fantastic corner. So they made the Bills look really bad last year in that game down in Houston. And Josh Allen said it. I got hit a lot. I looked at the film. While it's good to learn from that film, it's not pretty. It's not an easy watch because I didn't play well. I got beat up in that game. And for the most part, the Texans' defense is even better than it was last year to a large degree. So Buffalo's going to have its hands full trying to figure out how to manage this team, how to block up front, because that's the first key. Can they get Cook going? Can they protect Allen? Because if they can't do those things, it makes it real tough on the Bills.
As good as that defense is, I think when I looked it up, they were kind of middle of the road when it comes to stopping the run. So it might be something in the cards to try and get the running game going. But I just, when you look at what they did against the Buccaneers and how they struggled in the passing game down there last year, maybe that game against the Buccaneers came at the right time and they're in a better space when it comes to the passing game. But I would expect they should be able to do more with James Cook.
You'd hope so. I mean, because that's a big key for them. And when they can't, for the most of this season, it has been really hard for the Bills to move the football when Cook isn't effective. They showed they could finally do that in this past game against the Buccaneers. But it took Allen kind of playing helter-skelter ball to make that happen. Now, he may still have to do that because if they're bringing pressure and with four, it's going to be really incumbent on those receivers and those backs to, again, play that backyard football and find ways to get open for Allen because he can make magic when it happens. He's got to be really quick with the decision-making. Don't hold on to it too long if he doesn't have to. Obviously, avoid the sack if you can, but sometimes you got to just get rid of the football to the quick guy and live to take the 3-yard gain to Khalil Shakir or Ty Johnson or Dawson Knox and move on to the next play. But also, without throttling down, take those shots when you got a chance. Because when Allen's doing that and he's on,
Yeah.
He's the best player in football.
Hopefully that's the evolution of the offense. On the other side of the ball, CJ Stroud out, the team announced, and Davis Mills will be the starting quarterback. So if anything, the Texans have a pretty average offense, although Stroud has been so banged up. You know, it's hard to kind of look at that, but Davis Mills gets the start. So you should be able to say, get your points, and you should be able to do a decent job against Davis Mills. But that run defense has to tighten up, Andy.
Yeah, the run defense is always a problem, no matter who they face, it seems.
Right, I'm looking at the running back position for the Texans here. You could have, like, before the game against the Buccaneers, how many people knew
Sean Tucker.
Sean Tucker.
Outside of Syracuse.
Right. Right, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, look, that kind of just is what it is, though. For me, the biggest key for the Bills is make Davis Mills look like Davis Mills. Like, he's had moments. He's a decent backup. But, like, you can't go out there and lose to this guy. If you're the Buffalo Bills and you think you're a Super Bowl contender, you have to go out there, regardless of the running game and regardless of Nico Collins, you have to go out there and make Davis Mills look bad. Now, I don't think he's going to be looking as bad as they made Andy Dalton look, who it seemed the Bills somehow made him forget how to play football. But limit him, make them a little more one-dimensional. If they're running the football, you can live with that, but you can't get beat by Davis Mills, right? If they're running the ball, you're not giving up explosives, hopefully. You're not giving up 40 and 50-yard touchdowns like they did to Sean Tucker.
Right.
But to me, it's all about, all right, let's get after Davis Mills. Now, the Bills have one of the best pressure rates in the NFL. They get after the quarterback. They just don't bring him down at a high rate. That's also going to be a key.
That's been the story for the last few years.
Yeah, finishing.
Bills need to get a win to keep pace with the Patriots if they want to take over the AFC East, Andy. Well, you and I are going to dive into that and what the odds are there when we come back. This is the Buffalo End Zone Podcast. Welcome back, everyone. Bills trailing the Patriots for the top spot in the AFC East, which I think many thought would be a lock for the Bills this year. But the Patriots have come on in Drake May's second year and seem like they're going to be an issue sitting at 9-2. Well, the Bills sit at 7-3 right now, Andy. So the big question is, can the Bills run down the New England Patriots and finish the season atop the AFC East like they did with the Dolphins a few years ago?
I think they can. I don't know if they will, but it's possible. Look, people are acting like this is some insurmountable deficit. They're a game back in the loss column, and they play them again. So there's going to be opportunities here for the Bills. Now, the Bills' schedule is much more difficult down the stretch than the Patriots is. However, the Bills have proven they can get hot in November and December. They do it almost every year.
That is true.
They do it almost every year. They get hot and they get rolling towards the playoffs. And I think sometimes they're better chasing.
All right.
The Patriots, as good as they've been, and I think they're going to be here to stay. Like, Drake May is the real deal. Mike Vrabel is a good coach. When you get those two things together, that probably leads to 10 years of success for them.
What do you think?
But they're young, right? Like,
right.
Drake May is young. How much has he really been put to the test in those pressure situations? I think it's certainly possible. I put on X last week, I think after the Patriots were taking care of the Jets on Thursday Night Football. It's not out of the realm of possibility for the Patriots to run the table and finish 15-2. It's not out of the possibility at all. But, like, run down the Bills' schedule and run down the Patriots' schedule.
I think the only game in the Patriots' way right now is now the Ravens are coming on. If the Ravens can stay healthy,
right?
Patriots play the Ravens in December. The Bills have the Eagles, possibly the Bengals with Joe Burrow back in the lineup. We'll wait and see how that goes.
The Browns' defense is really good.
Right. I mean, the Patriots beat the Browns, but the Browns beat the heck out of Drake May, and the Patriots were lucky to come away with a win. So I think the Patriots' schedule is just too easy. Could they slip up? Probably. It's a young team. We saw what they did against the Steelers, where they couldn't get out of their own way and kept turning the ball over and over again. But the ironic part is they were still in that game, and that was early in the season. Now, they did lose to the Raiders to open things, and the Raiders aren't exactly world beaters. So,
well, let's run down the schedule. You tell me how you think the Bills are going to finish here.
Okay.
You tell me win or loss.
I'll do that.
All right. Bills at Texans.
I'm going to say win.
Okay, so 8-3.
Yep.
At Pittsburgh.
Win.
9-3. Home for Cincinnati.
If Joe Burrow's back, well, he's going to have to I don't know. The Bengals are in the Bills' head, to me, still. And a healthy Bengals team could come in and cause a problem.
I just think the Bengals are kind of like losing their minds right now.
Okay.
They may not have anything to play for at that point. I mean, they're already pretty much out of it.
We'll give the Bills the win there.
Okay, so 11-3 at the Patriots.
I'm going to say the Patriots win that
They're
game.
going to sweep the series.
I'm going to say yes to that.
Okay, well then to me that's it. That's the crux of it. If you think that the Patriots are beating the Bills again, then I don't see the Bills catching them. Because then you have to basically finish 2 games out of them.
Right. And you still have the Eagles.
Eagles and Jets. And Browns, Eagles, Jets.
Yeah.
So you think the Bills will lose 2 more games?
I do.
So
I'll say Patriots and Eagles.
12-5.
Yeah.
And what do you think the Patriots are going to finish?
I had their schedule up earlier.
Well, here we go. Bengals win.
I think they win that pretty easily. Giants win.
So wait. You think that the Bengals are a real threat to the Bills, but not to the Patriots?
Joe Burrow's not playing. Jamar Chase isn't playing. Trey Hendrickson.
But you don't know that Joe Burrow is going to be playing for the Bengals by then.
Well, I believe there are reports out that they're targeting Thanksgiving weekend for him to be back.
I mean, they're still putting up tons of numbers with Flacco throwing the
true.
ball over the field. Their defense stinks. All right, Giants, sure. So
there's the Bills game.
Right. Bills and Baltimore, that's the crux for them.
Yeah, and then you have the Jets and Dolphins to finish out the season.
Right. So the Bills, if New England loses to the Bills and Baltimore, the Bills have to finish like a game ahead. So that means they could lose 1.
You almost turned my way of thinking by pointing out how well the Bills play in November and December.
Yeah.
Because I didn't take that into consideration. Like, if they get on a heater right now, I think they could run them down and go into Foxborough and even the score. But looking at the 2 teams where they are at the moment,
I, again, said they can do it. It's not impossible. I'm not expecting it, but it wouldn't shock me for them to do it.
Now, with that being said, and we'll get into this a little bit later on in the show, what happens once they get in the postseason, even if they're the wild card, and perhaps the Chiefs aren't there. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. We got weather coming up, and then Andy and I will be back. This is the Buffalo End Zone Podcast.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Gilson with your game day forecast. The Bills taking on the Texans in Houston on Thursday night. And the temperatures definitely looking like Texas temperatures. Temperatures that will be into the upper 70s to right around 80 degrees. If you're tailgating before the game in the afternoon, early evening though, pack the rain gear there in Texas, looking at that chance for some showers and even some thunderstorms. Now here in Buffalo, if you're out watching the game, maybe at some watch parties, it will be chilly out there. Temperatures here in the 40s, but we'll stay dry for Thursday evening across western New York.
All right, welcome back, everyone. As far as game day goes and the game time, with a retractable roof, you're guaranteed for a decent conditions.
Supposed to be in the 80s.
Yeah.
Maybe some rain down there at some points. But, look, inside, do your tailgating thing. If you get wet, you got time to dry off.
Yeah, there you go. That's the way to look at it. Bills, Andy, in this one, -3.5.
I'm going to take the Bills to cover that. I think they win by a touchdown.
I'm with you. I think the Bills will cover it. I think the Texans offense, wanted to say Oilers. Gosh.
You are stuck in the 80s.
The 80s were great. Wait till you hear what I'm watching now.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they're going to win by more than 3.5. I'm around a touchdown, maybe even 10 points in this one. They should be able to just stay way ahead of the Texans throughout the game. 43.5 for the over-under. I'm taking the over. I think the Bills, their new style of play is putting up a lot of points. And as good as the Texans' defense is, I think they're going to be able to do that. And then, like, late in the game, the Texans are going to be able to put up points. So I think that's how that's going to go down.
I'll take the over as well. I'll say something like 28-21.
I was looking at something like in the mid-30s, maybe 17 points for
the Texans' defense scares me that the Bills aren't going to put up massive points. Now, they still could get to 30-ish, a little under. But I don't know that they're going to put up in the 40s because they're a lot better defense than the Buccaneers.
I don't know, pick six. Ray Davis returns a kick for a touchdown.
We're just making stuff up now.
That's what we say. Who knows
Listen,
how this will turn out?
I posted this the other night when we talked about the podcast. Betting advice you shouldn't take. Because if we go back and look at our predictions,
can I tell you
they're mostly wrong.
Can I tell you a real funny story?
You can.
So I'm driving into work last Sunday. It's my dad's birthday, so I give him a call, and you remember how windy it was out. So I tell him driving in, I'm like, Dad, it's super windy out. I know you want to take the over in this game. Don't do it. Stay away from it. So halfway through the game, I text him. I'm like, sorry that I gave you such a bad birthday present with bad advice on taking the under in this game. And he texts me back, oh, I didn't listen to you. I appreciate you giving me advice, but I took the over. Thank you.
And then they put up 76 points.
Right. So I have my dad fading me on his DraftKings account.
He should.
That's what I told him.
You
I'm
don't
like,
know
you
what you're
should.
talking about. Neither do I.
I'm not a gambling guy.
We're all just out here swinging and missing.
Yep. It's just fun. Having a little fun as you approach the Bills game. All right. Coming up, we're going to jump back into other stuff around the NFL. You know, we teased earlier the Chiefs and if they're going to get in there and what it might look like for the Bills. So we're going to jump into that and a little bit more. This is the Buffalo End Zone Podcast. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. Buffalo End Zone Podcast. Kevin and Andy with you. Andy, a look around the NFL, and Bengals have the Patriots, as we talked about. Jamar Chase will not be in the lineup or he's at least suspended one game. I think he was trying to get that. I don't know where that appealed.
Right.
For spitting on another player. I mean, come on.
That is one of the worst things. That is so disrespectful. And then the whole charade where the reporters asked him after the game because Jalen Ramsey was like, he spit on me. That's why I went off. And he just denied it. I mean, it was on. I guess he didn't know someone caught that on camera.
I mean, isn't that the second time this year? Didn't some lineman from the Eagles before the game?
Yeah, Jalen Carter did it in the opener.
Yeah.
And he was kicked right out of the game.
Didn't even, yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, that's just,
That's horrible
with that. So now the Bengals are going to be shorthanded taking on the Patriots, who, like we said, are on a heater. So I automatically give the Patriots this win coming up on Sunday, and they stay in the mix. You have the Denver Broncos with Bo Nix, the Patriots, and then the Colts with Daniel Jones still up there. The Steelers, I think, are going to get overtaken by the Ravens. The Bills are currently sitting
5th seed.
in the 5th seed. So
Right now they would go to Pittsburgh.
Right.
I'm taking that all day.
100%.
Like if you're the Bills, you're taking that all day long.
Chiefs still on the outside looking in, sitting at 5-5.
They're in trouble.
The Ravens are 5-5, but the Ravens have a way to get on the top of that NFC Central?
AFC North.
AFC.
NFC Central. Dude. See? We're
The
back to the 80s again.
The NFC was a
The
mistake.
NFC North. Dude.
The Chiefs not getting it. God. Oh.
The Chiefs.
Chiefs not getting in, Andy.
They might not
How
make the
huge
playoffs.
would that be? Or if you're the Bills, do you want them in there because the Chiefs are having a down year? But, I mean, the Chiefs have so much. You got the Chargers. You got the Broncos.
Look, if I'm the Bills, I don't want any part of seeing the Chiefs in the postseason. Like, show it to me.
Do you root for the Chiefs to beat the Colts this weekend?
Sure.
I don't see any harm in that.
Right. Brings the Colts back down to earth a little bit. Would tie them with Buffalo in the loss column. And then, you know, the 1 seed is still not out of the question for the Bills.
Right.
People act like they're in a spot where they can go either way.
But I think we're at the point right now where if this stays like it is, I don't think it matters to what the Bills are right now.
Now, here's something funny. If, for example, Baltimore gets on a heater, they win the North, and they end up being the 4 seed, and the Bills stay in the 5 seed, what a crazy first-round matchup that is.
Right.
The Bills would have to go to Baltimore and face the Ravens, who would then be on a heater, having won the division. That would be wild. Chiefs, though, man, like, they're not going to win the division.
Right.
That's over for them, which is crazy because they've won it since 2016 every year. That's wild. It's like the Patriots used to be in the AFC East.
Right. You get
The American Football League.
I think the rest of the NFL would be happy not to see the Chiefs in the postseason this year.
Yeah,
I think like you talked about when the Patriots were doing it all the time. I think the Chiefs are in that spot right now.
And Houston's not out of the mix. They're actually in 8th right now. They're a game behind Jacksonville. They have a tiebreaker over Kansas City and Baltimore. So Houston, like, everybody's kind of being like, it's Houston, whatever, Davis Mills, they're not great. They're fighting for it. This is not going to be an easy game for the Bills. Houston is still alive in this thing.
Incredible. On the NFC side, Eagles, Rams. I think the Rams are the real deal. The Bears right now sitting in the 3rd seed. I don't think that's going to last, quite frankly, but
I do.
Really?
I like the way they're playing. I like that the talent they've got on that team. The defense is good. It's really, to me, it's all about Caleb Williams, and he seems to have found something. Who's your MVP, real quick?
Drake May.
Drake May. I would go Matthew Stafford right now.
I was leaning towards Sam Darnold, too.
Yeah, but then he had a rough game against the Rams.
And he has some stinkers here and there. We'll see how the rest of the season plays out. But
Door is not closed on Josh Allen. He just put up 6 touchdowns,
Right.
and now he, again, leads the league in total touchdowns. And he's actually ahead of his pace from last season.
Amazing performance.
6 touchdowns will do that.
Even when he plays bad. All right, quick break and then a little 3 and out before we hit the road for this week. All right, welcome back, everyone. A little 3 and out before we go. Not necessarily NFL topics here because we touched on most of them. We're going to jump into the Sabres real quick, Andy. They're in dead last in the East, but they're only 4 points out of a playoff spot. They got a lot of teams ahead of them, but it's early. It's November. We're used to kind of the Sabres being dead last, I think, at this point. It's not a surprise when you hear it. But, man, they look like if they can get healthy and get things together and Rasmus Dahlin is back in the fold, that they could actually do something.
They have to be within striking distance by the time Christmas rolls around. And they can't be behind 6-7 teams that they have to jump. That's just asking too much. Now, if there's a difference between, hey, we're 4 points out, but we got to jump 7 other teams, or we're 4 points out and we got to jump 2 or 3 teams.
Right.
So they've got to tread water here and really not just tread water, start to leapfrog some of these teams. Even if the spread of how far out they are points-wise doesn't change much, they've got to have some teams slip behind them because we saw it a couple of years ago when they almost made the playoffs and missed by a point. When you have to jump 6 or 7 teams, that's asking a lot for all those teams to come back to earth to you as opposed to just 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm. Andy will be on the road for the upcoming holiday, Thanksgiving. So I'll pose you this time around, Andy. What do you do with Thanksgiving leftovers?
What do you mean, what do I do? I eat them.
Do you make sandwiches? Do you just eat them normal? Do you do
Both.
something else with them? Make a stew? Hit me up. Give me
Okay.
some ideas.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I do now. Burrito.
A burrito with stuffing and mashed potatoes in it?
I don't do mashed potatoes or cranberry sauce. I do stuffing, turkey, cheese, gravy, roll it up,
Sounds like a KFC famous bowl.
panini press it.
Okay.
Maybe put some of those pearl onions and cheese on it too. And that's it. I don't like cranberry sauce, and mashed potatoes are mashed potatoes.
I love mashed potatoes. I love gravy. I love stuffing. And turkey's good. A lot of people give
Right.
turkey some flack.
I do.
A lot of people go for prime rib on these holidays nowadays. But I still like turkey. So here's the conundrum I run into. We get all these leftovers, and it's usually like this huge Tupperware of turkey.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's not enough mashed potatoes and stuffing left over for me. That's the number one thing I need is mashed potatoes and stuffing. You know, I just add the carbs to this big body.
Oof, it's coming. Get those stretchy pants. All right, Andy, we got a minute left.
Okay.
What you watching?
Nothing. Wrestling and sports.
And I am currently watching the old show Nash Bridges on Tubi. As one does, it has Don Johnson in it. I didn't care for it when it originally aired, but there's some nice cameos in it now that you're older, and there's actually an episode where Tubbs from Miami Vice is in town, and it's a little Miami Vice episode.
Kevin and I have known each other for more than 20 years, and I have come to realize that if it wasn't for sports, we would have nothing in common. We couldn't be more opposite.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
That's how this works. All right. Game on Thursday night. Podcast coming your way after the game on Friday morning.
Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you on TV after the game with Stevie Johnson and the two of us, and then the podcast as well.
Beat the buzzer. Thanks, everyone.